Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have the latest from the live radar from the UKV, have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, as we have got another couple of days of very unsettled conditions with lots of heavy rain, but by the end of the week it will be turning slightly drier, still showery, but we should avoid the big walls of rain that we've seen recently. The only caveat is we are going to be seeing a pretty potent northerly wind bringing in some very cold air for the time of year. Very similar to the blast we saw a couple of weeks ago. Could be even colder than that though, with potentially temperatures below freezing overnight and very cold temperatures during the day, maybe high single digits in some areas at best. So we're trading off the temperatures is going colder once again, but we are getting slightly dry conditions for a time later this week. Then we'll finish the video by having a look at the longer range, as we have had some summery conditions over the past few weeks. At the start of September and in the past week or so, we have seen above average temperatures. But as we head into early October, it looks like autumn will be truly arriving. Temperatures look around average, and we do look like we're going to see lots of high precipitation events, with potentially some quite deep areas of low pressure, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a storm mixed in there as we do start to see the jet stream really powering up. Now, it always happens this time of year, somewhere between sort of late September into October. We always see a power up of the jet stream. It's inevitable as we do descend towards winter, but it is going to be stark contrast to what we're seeing last week, where it was very warm and dry. Yeah, we're going back to those proper autumnal conditions, and unfortunately, this could be it until the middle part of next year, perhaps April, May time, until we next see properly warm conditions. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. And as we start on the live radar, we have seen some exceptionally heavy rain over the past few days. It has been torrential, especially last night through today. I'm recording this around 9 p.m. on Monday, so when I say today, I mean through Monday, and we have seen that amber warning, and it has really lived up to what we've been saying over the past few days. The only caveat is that this area of rain has pivoted about 100 miles further southwards than we anticipated. So the amber warning actually covered parts of the South Midlands towards western portions of London, towards Oxfordshire, out towards of Gloucestershire, Bristol. It's clearing there and now focused just to the west of London. But we have seen some exceptional amounts of rainfall here. The initial amber warning further northward, still seeing a lot of heavy rain, but it's that really dangerous up to 100 millimeters of rainfall it was seen in this quadrant that we'll look at in the past 24-hour precipitation in a minute. You can see it's still raining pretty heavily here as this area does slowly pull away, but it has been fairly stationary for the past 12 hours or so, just dumping considerable amounts of rainfall. When you see these sort of weather fronts just pivoting and being stationary, we don't even need that high of rainfall rates to be seen. Substantial accumulations, 5 to 10 millimeters per hour is pretty heavy rain, but it's nothing out of this world. And of course, that for a full day, you are totting up 50 to 100 millimeters quite easily, and that is what we've seen. Elsewhere, have seen some rain today, but it's generally just been quite a lot more gloomy and cold as we do see this trough slowly clearing away. But this event we've seen over the past couple of days with thunderstorms through the weekend, and now this torrential rain, again just emphasizes the power of these cut-off lows and these troughs, even though they're not particularly significant or deep areas of low pressure. When we see this instability mixed with the warm, humid air, this is what can happen. And that's why whenever we do look at those longer term forecasts, we see a potential cut-off low developing, I do always pick it up, because it can be very impactful, like it has been over the past few days. As said, temperatures have slowly dropped today as we do start to see that mild, humid air getting pushed away, but it will truly be pushed away through tomorrow, where it does go fresher with an Atlantic flow. As said, if we put on those past 24-hour precipitation, you can see it has been truly ridiculous in many areas. If you pull it up to the current amount, you can see originally where the rain kind of made landfall down towards the south of London, slowly clearing through northern and western London, and then you can see where it's parked this afternoon. All of those yellows and oranges, that's 50 plus millimeters. Some of those darker colors, dark oranges to reds, indicating precipitation getting up towards 100 millimeters, and it is still raining, so it could get even higher. I would likely see another 5 to 10, maybe even more than that, millimeters left to go throughout the rest of this evening. And again, this only takes into account the past 24 hours. If we think yesterday, we saw some severe thunderstorms moving through, especially to the north of London, to the sort of north of this orange area. So I wouldn't be surprised if those areas have looked at the past 48 hours. We were seeing 100 plus millimeters quite widely around here. So truly exceptional amounts of rainfall. The only sort of good thing you can say is this amount of rain has fallen in September after a fairly dry few weeks. It's not been, bone dry, it's not been heat wave, but it's not been overwhelming in terms of rain. So we are seeing this rain fall onto saturated ground, but not exceptionally saturated ground. So we haven't seen as bad flooding as we could have seen if this had fallen perhaps during the middle of winter, when the ground is sodden and when river levels are really high. By no means am I trying to dumb down the flooding that we have seen. It has been pretty severe in places, but it could have been a whole lot worse if this pattern had come off during the winter months. You could argue if this pattern happened in winter, it wouldn't be as severe because we wouldn't have that very warm air fueling it, but you never know. We could have seen it slightly slower moving, we still could have seen those intensities. So again, very severe in places. Luckily, most of that rain is now over, and the next couple of days we will still see some heavy rain, but it will be nowhere near as substantial as we're seeing at the moment. You can see, though, many areas across Northern Ireland and Scotland are thinking, what rain? Bone dry in these areas. You can almost see that the rain has stopped close to the Scottish borders. It's almost like it's got to Scotland and said, nope, we're not going to rain here. And this is because that cut-off low is to our south. So the further north as you are away, the lighter the rain is. And you can kind of see the streaks of precipitation across northern France here, just showing where the centre of that low is, just out in the English Channel, with all this heavy rain spiralling around it over the past 24 hours. Now, if we do look at the weather warnings, we've got no more weather warnings issued over the next few days. I do think there is a possibility of a warning issue for Wednesday and Thursday, and that is because we are going to see some more heavy rain falling on this very saturated ground, but the latest warning does expire in a couple of hours' time as I'm watching this. It has been updated today, and it's removed parts of Wales and North West England, but again, by the time most people are watching this, this warning won't be particularly relevant, as it is expiring, as I said, around midnight. Now, if you have a look at the latest UKV, you can see earlier today, all that heavy rain slowly clearing away overnight tonight. It does lose its intensity quite quickly around midnight, and it does clear. So hopefully we have seen sort of 99% of the rain now, very little to come. It still looks pretty intense on the live radar, but the latest forecast is for it to dissipate very quickly in the next couple of hours as I am recording this. As we get into Tuesday, we do actually start to see some rain for Scotland. So where it's been bone dry over the past 24 hours, we do start to see some rain. And you can see as we head into Tuesday afternoon, there will be some showers around, perhaps heavy. But those areas that have been inundated with rain today, it looks fairly dry. Very few showers and maybe even a bit of sunshine. So a positive. Hopefully that can allow those water levels to subside, ground saturation to drop as well. If we saw another batch of very heavy rain through tomorrow, then we could see much more significant issues, because the issue we've got now is the ground is exceptionally saturated, so even just moderate rainfall events could cause severe impacts. As we head though into Wednesday, we do see heavy rain returning, unfortunately. If we watch out to the southwest, we do start to see some heavy rain pushing in, but you can see luckily it does move through fairly quickly. It is going to be heavy. We are seeing those oranges once again, so torrential downpours potentially. Rainfall rates around that 10 to 20 millimeters per hour. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of the impact areas through today saw another half an inch of rain, but you can see through Wednesday evening, it does move through in the space of 2 or 3 hours. So hopefully most areas will not be too badly impacted by this. It does stall a bit over northern England, but we've not seen the most severe impacts there over the past 24 hours. So hopefully it's not too bad there. Those areas aren't too badly saturated, but still have seen some of the thunderstorms over the past few days. As you see through Thursday into Friday, we still see some rain around. It does slowly clear southwards, bringing some further rain for all. And then into Friday, look at that, the northerly wind in. Much drier, but is also much colder into the weekend. You see still a few showers around, but generally much drier, as we do see that Arctic air moving in. And you see the upper air temperatures widely 0 towards sort of -1 to -2. So very cold for the time of year. And again, the risk of some frost in places. Now, if you put on the max temperatures, you can see as we head into Tuesday afternoon, temperatures getting to around 17 degrees in the south and the east, single digits across Scotland. So turning much colder in the north, still a little bit mild in the south. Into Wednesday, we could see our first frost developing, maybe toward the highlands of Scotland, but most is still above freezing for now. And you see into Wednesday afternoon, much colder in the north, where temperatures struggling to get into the double digits. The south 16 or 17, but by Thursday you can see 17, 18 in the far southeast, but many areas from sort of northern England, North Wales, northwards are going to be in the single digits, maybe double digits towards the coast, but most are turning cold. And you can see into Friday, all areas in that cold air, maybe at best 13, 14 degrees, but most single digits, maybe just about double digits. And then you can see a frost developing for many into Saturday. Again, it will be cloud dependent, but for much northern England, Scotland down towards freezing. And then into Saturday, again, struggling at that 12 to 14 degrees. I must say the potency of the cold air has dropped ever so slightly over the past day or so. So we're not looking as widespread a frost as we were expecting a day or so ago, and the temperatures are maybe a degree or two higher during the day. So positive, it's increasing a little bit, but I don't think we'll see too many alterations as we are now pretty close to that cold air finally arriving. Now, if you look at the longer range, you can see that northerly blast coming in later this week, turning very cold for a time through the weekend. But fortunately, it's with a bit of higher pressure through Sunday, so it should hopefully turn a bit drier. But by Monday, we start to see more heavy low pressure systems starting to develop in off the Atlantic, and you can see it goes unsettled, perhaps even stormy into early October. Classic autumnal conditions with the jet stream really powering up, little kinks developing as well, and that could spin up these lows even further. If you do check out the latest GM, again, northerly winds piling in later this week. Eventually a bit of high pressure through Sunday, but into Monday, pretty severe low arrives off the Atlantic, and then it goes pretty unsettled into the following week. Yes, still some high pressure signals around, but it's not a dominant high. It's more just transitional highs, intermittent between the areas of low pressure. And then finally, the latest ECMWF, that northerly wind arrives later this week. Eventually, all of those lows arrive into early next week, potentially a really quite severe low there for Monday. That is being picked up by all models. We need to keep a very close eye on that. And then eventually into the following week, low pressure gets parked over the top of us, and yeah, doesn't look great at all. Now, if you finish by looking at the latest ensemble sheets around average over the coming days with pretty high precipitation. That unsettled wet theme is continuing. You can see as those temperatures drop later this week, it turns drier for a couple of days, and then as soon as those upper air temperatures rise again, we see a bit more moisture coming off the Atlantic, temperatures back towards average. We do see it turning unsettled, and you can see for early October a classic cool autumnal pattern. Upper air temperatures around average or maybe slightly below average, and moderate precipitation. Classic westerly flow, and yeah, not looking great at all as we do head into October. Of course, it is October, so we do expect these sort of conditions, but we have seen a bit of a stretch out of summer into September. We've seen our cold snaps, but we've also seen a couple of weeks of very warm, dry conditions, temperatures into the mid-20s, even last week. But yeah, we could be seeing quite a quick transition to proper autumnal conditions into next week. And then finally, if we compare to the ECMWF, look at the midnight run, it is pretty much exactly the same. Still lots of heavy rain around over the coming days, but slowly drying later this week with that cold air for a couple of days before it turns wet and unsettled once again into early October. we'll have to see exactly how it does play out for the next couple of weeks. But yeah, autumn looks like it could probably be arriving, and yeah, with lots more rain and cooler temperatures to come. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.